the team, right?
Yeah, he talked to the team, and then we lost two. I mean, the only positive you can take away from him talking to the team is rather than losing by fucking 6, we lost by 3 and 2. Like, good job. Congrats. You really got to him.
So I wanted to do our best guess as to what, because Clint Frazier said he's a guy who's so chill when he does address us the way he did. Everyone should listen. He's not the kind of guy who gets so upset. It was needed. And then when they asked Boone, they said, hey, what'd you say in there? He said, that's for in there. So I wanted to do our best guess as to what we thought happened there and happened on the inside. So I'll start us off. And I think it went a little something like this. Let me know if this is pretty accurate, Chandler. So I think he said, well, guys, Jay Bruce, I think you were tired. I don't know if you want to be here. He sounds like Mickey Mouse in my mind. I've never seen him get really angry other than the Savages in the Box thing. So let's continue. Stanton, I don't know what you think you're doing. Like, the ball has to be hit over the fence. Judge, are you okay? I don't know. I don't really know if you're hurt or not. I mean, what do you think he fucking said in there? I feel like it was the most nonsense. We suck. Yeah, obviously. What are you going to say that changes anything?
What do you say as a guy that's like a player's coach that you're so concerned about everybody liking you that you don't like climb in anyone's ass? Like if Joe Girardi had a fucking conversation or Joe Torre that was a real like thing like that, I'd be like, oh fuck, okay, things are real. But like Aaron Boone, like he's just a nice guy. I love Aaron Boone as a person, but I just can't see him getting mad enough to like yell other than just like, hey, Hicks, please don't strike out every other at bat. Thank you. High five.
Please and thank you.
Like, hey, Giancarlo, it would be really sweet if you could put a ball in play. Oh, wait, you're going to ground to... That's fine. Could you at least run, like, at least above walking speed to first base? No, you don't want to? That's fine. I don't want to offend you, but if you could, that'd be sweet.
Yeah, the thing about baseball is you can't just go in there and hype people up and tell them to get better. In a football game, you could just go in there, bang a couple heads together, get them motivated, and then go out there and they play better. It's like in baseball, it's...
Is that what the Jets do?
We've tried a lot of things, but that's apparently not one of them. We're taking the Yankee approach. We're disappointed, and we're waiting for them to turn it back on.
At what point do you worry that they're not going to turn? I mean, I know it's 15 games in. I'm not talking like for the whole season wise, but like what if turning it on still isn't good enough? It hasn't been good enough for fucking 12 years now, 11 years, however long. At what point is just the answer of turning it on not enough?
I mean, listen, we talked about it before. We didn't even bring up, our panic meter. We didn't even think it was remotely even close to being talked about. And that the panic meter is something that comes out, and it could be from 0, no panic, to everybody panicking. It could be somewhere in between. So even dusting off the panic meter doesn't necessarily mean we're panicked. I would like to formally dust it off, if that's cool with the group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think we're pushing like
okay.
5 at this point. Like I think the needle's kind of going up and down a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So the panic meter is just pretty self-explanatory. It goes from nobody panic, which is, so I guess it was dusted off, and it's just always dusted off. But we're touching it. We're moving the needle now. So I would put it at, honestly, probably a 5, like you said, Murph. And it's not, obviously we're gonna get the people that say, oh, it's so early, and yes, it is super early. There's still 150 games or so left of the season, maybe a little less, but around that. And yeah, we shouldn't worry because there is time to make up the ground for sure. But the brand of baseball that I have seen is not one that looks very promising in literally any single facet of the game. The only thing I think that is relatively okay, that gives me some faith that we have something and we're not like bad on every single avenue, is the bullpen looks kind of good, and they look pretty good.
Doesn't matter if they
you know the problem.
But if they don't have a lead, yeah, then it doesn't matter. And if we are like Garrett Cole threw another gem, and he gave up 3 runs. Technically, it's not earned. There were a few errors. I don't even remember.
2 were earned, I think.
2 were earned, and it's just he's pitching his balls off. He looks like DeGrom out there, and we're giving the DeGrom treatment. I said that before while the game was going on, and it just continued. We're just giving him no run support, and it's not just him. That for whatever reason, DeGrom just gets no run support ever, and other people do sometimes, at least now. But with Cole, it's just like we're not giving anybody run support. We're not giving not even just Cole. Like all of the pitch, like we're averaging 3 hits a game, not 3 runs. 3 hits.
No, let me give you just a number. One number, 11. That is how many hits we had in the entire series against your biggest division rival. That's a fucking joke. They had 11 hits in the first game against us. We had 11 total. How the fuck?
Did they have 11 in the first game?
They had 11 in the first game. We had 11 total over 3.
Yeah, and we also have...
That's embarrassing.
We also have one run in the first inning in the 15 games that we played. And that just happened.
We still only have 1, right?
Yeah, that just happened.
That was in the last year. Yeah, I don't know, man.
It was against the Blue Jays, and like I said, the panic meter, I'm not like jumping off a building yet. Like, it's not the end of the world. This team's going to win games. They have plenty of talent. Eventually, talent will take over. My panic meter is for October. You would hope, but assuming I'm not going to go crazy yet because it's 15 games in. But my panic meter's for October, and that's a 9. For that,
I think that's an interesting way to take it. Yeah.
Well, because we've proven that this roster can handle the regular season, and yeah, they're shitting the bed now, whatever. But this roster hasn't proven dick in October, and all they've done so far is just prove that more. And that's when it's important. I think they think that the fucking postseason is just a guarantee, and you can think that for a couple of games and be woken up, but nothing has woken them up yet. They're just like, oh yeah, it's fine. We can lose 10 more, and we'll still make the postseason. It's all good, but you can't do that for half a season and then in August wake up and be like, oh shit, now we have to go on a historic stretch.
Like, well, that's why my panic meter is so high. Like, obviously we're playing like shit and it's really uninspired baseball, and that's a reason enough to panic. But also Boston looks good. Tampa looks good. Toronto looks good. So even if we turn the burners on, in the next month or two, like, it's not like they're gonna like make it easy for us. They're actually pretty good teams. The Red Sox are way better than I thought they were gonna be. Tampa Bay still has some stuff, even though they lost Snell and Morton. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, Tampa in particular. Before we move on past that, Tampa. This is known. We've seen this on an everyday basis. But when you put the numbers together and just accumulate our last 22 games, it might be 23, considering I don't know if this counts the last one. But the Rays have won 17 of the last 22 games against the Yankees, dating back to September of 2019, which was Tampa's win over us in the ALDS. That's that was obvious. Like, no one was shocked when I read that out just now, but that is disgusting to a team that is one of you, if not the biggest competitor in the past 2 years, and still right now. I mean, yes, the Blue Jays I think are a little better, and the Red Sox are apparently God's gift to the earth right now. I don't think that'll hold up, but their offense is always was going to be good. It was the pitching, so I think the pitching will come back down to earth. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to be, hopefully, between us and the other two, not the Orioles, obviously. But that's just... And another thing, too, while I was at the stadium, obviously, shitty games to go to. I did not have any fun whatsoever. Good to be at the ballpark, but it was no fun at all. Fans were throwing balls in the field. I was not one of them, but... And I don't condone that, and everybody was freaking out about it. Like, it's an absolutely bad look, and I don't think it's a good look. I wasn't going to be a guy to throw it, but it's also a pretty bad look. You got to be pretty damn bad to get people to do that, and we are that bad. We're that bad that that would happen,
I think it says enough.
It's like the Philly fans throwing fucking batteries at Santa Claus back in the day. That's like, pretty much what we're doing now.
I know that Yankee fans are particularly, we tend to overreact. We boo people. We booed A-Rod, and he's a fucking, steroids aside, he's a Hall of Fame caliber guy. I'm just saying, this is a fan base that can boo one of the greatest players in history. But when they're booing fucking Nick Nelson one pitch into the game, things are bad. Things are bad.
I mean, do you blame us though?
No wonder we're playing
frustrated.
No. I'm not blaming you. I'm not saying that that's this team looks like shit. Anybody that can charge that much money for a ticket, like, I expect at the very least for Aaron Hicks to be able to fucking field a bloop single to center field without kicking it to the second base.
Twice.
Listen.
Play Little League level baseball. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking to win a World Series. Yeah, it'd be cool. I'd love to win a World Series. At this point, play fucking machine pitch level baseball.
Murph,
You
what do
wonder
got?
why
Murph,
they're
go ahead,
playing
I'm sorry.
so maybe not bad. I mean, obviously, baseball teams, no matter how good they are, go through patches similar to this. But you wonder why they're playing so uninspired. When every time somebody strikes out, or every time Nick Nelson comes in or something, they're getting booed off the field. You can't feed off the crowd's energy that they've been waiting for over a year. When the crowd's energy isn't for you, it's against you.
Yeah, but
And
I
you
wouldn't.
wonder
I
why
wouldn't
they
even.
can't pull themselves out of that. No, I'm just
Yeah, I get
strictly
it.
talking
It is
about the
kicking them while they're
uninspired
down.
part of it.
Yeah, it is kicking them while they're
How
down.
inspired of baseball can you play when you're getting booed every time something bad
You got to get to a certain special
snowball.
level of bad to get the fans to boo like that. And I understand what you're saying.
happens? Not in New York, you don't.
Well, they were to be fair. To be fair,
Get this
Quick to
level?
boo.
to be fair, they were booing from the start, and I was calling people out like, "Hey, why are you booing Stanton?" We've talked about that on the podcast. At the point we're at now, I think boos are absolutely warranted. This is just
I'm
a
not saying
product.
they're not warranted.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
saying
know
you
what you're
wonder why
saying.
they're playing uninspired.
Yeah, they're at
Right
a point.
now,
They're at a point where you're
deserve
so
to be
low.
booed. You deserve to be booed if you don't care. They don't look. I texted you guys this before the game the other day, before Cole start. I'm pretty sure that Garrett Cole could go out there and throw a 17 strikeout perfect game. And if we won, that would be a miracle in itself because that would mean we have to score a run. But if he came out there and threw a perfect game, would they cheer like Rodon's fucking no hitter? No, I legitimately can't see this team getting excited. Like I can't picture. They might, and I'm not saying they won't, but I'm just saying if that were to happen, I can't I can't picture that in my mind. I can't picture anybody on this team getting happy. Everybody just looks fucking miserable to be there all the
I
time.
think there would just be a sigh of relief if that happened. That's what
Yeah,
would
be like,
happen.
hey, good job, Garrett. High five. Let's go to the dugout and fucking pout some more because we had to show up to work today.
I mean, like the thing that pisses me off the most is because I mean I'm watching every Yankees game, but I'm also watching other games every single night. We're watching 2 baseball games right now as we speak, and those games are so much more exciting to watch.
Big baseball guys.
Like these teams are having fun. There's guys making electric plays. Acuna's like I watch every Braves game because they're so much fun to watch.
he's low key a Braves fan.
I'm high key a Braves fan.
Dude, did you watch the Dodgers and Padres the other night?
Amazing.
People
That
were chirping at each other.
Like
Unbelievable.
Mookie's
It's so
diving across
fun.
the field. I just you can't. I don't envision that happening with the team we have right now. And
The Dodgers Padres reminds me of like what the Yankees and Red Sox used to be, and what
Yeah.
I long for it to be again.
Can I throw this out here unobjectively? And like I said, unobjectively, this team has not been the same since Didi was gone. Just saying.
I don't think
I
Didi
mean
was
that.
the
Let's
thing.
push it back a little bit.
I think the timing, yeah, you're right, but I don't
No,
think
I'm
Didi
sa-
was the reason.
I don't think talent-wise, no. Like I
this
love
team's
Didi.
also not the same
He
since
was a
Greg
solid
Bird
shortstop.
left, but we're not saying he's the key to all of our answers.
No, but okay,
Dare I
no.
say we need a
I'm
locker room
saying
guy?
Larry
That's what I'm saying.
Rothschild.
fuck up, Murph.
that's
I'm
what.
just,
No,
no,
it is
I'm being
block-
serious,
no,
like I'm
that's
joking.
what I
I'm
was
dead
saying.
serious. Right, I know
That's
that's what
I'm
you're
saying
getting
the whole
at. You're
time.
absolutely right.
Yeah, because Didi
Top
was the
rated
locker
guy.
room guy. You get rid of the guy that whenever they're in a slump, that's all you would see. News articles like, yeah, everybody's pissed off, but in a time of darkness, like the whole team's out here watching Didi fly his drone, or like, here's Didi dressed up as a fucking pirate, like walking around the clubhouse, like everybody's
Why did he do
happy.
that?
And not, I mean, I'm just making that up.
No,
he just
I
did cool
just
shit.
wish I
He
saw
did
it.
He
fly
made
drone-
the
drone
cartoons
thing
after
is-
the game.
Yeah.
There's no
But
thing.
I'm just
this
saying,
year.
like, he's an awesome.
One
there's
person at a
nothing.
time, please.
Yeah, you guys are just
there's
yelling at each other.
There's
you
a lot
two.
to say.
It's you two. So take a breath. Take a deep breath here.
We got all the
Well,
time in the
no, 'cause
world.
What I was gonna say is that we don't have a thing this year. Like there was always something. Like we had the thumbs down, savages in the box, let Brett bang. I know it's early in the season, that kind of thing can develop, but the camaraderie is a lot higher when that kind of thing goes on.
Here's where I think, I guess,
That comes when you
here's the
win.
thing. I feel like that needs to come. You can't really force that.
Comes when you win.
Yeah, it comes when you win. But I think that the real thing that's missing is I don't see any players stepping up either to take on leadership roles and encouraging these guys. You see Garrett Cole, but Garrett Cole is just talking, how do I get better with people around him after he pitches? Like I don't know if
That's
he's
what-
I don't know if he's the guy going in there and encouraging people after a game or before a game, or I would assume Aaron Judge is that guy to come out there and inspire people. If I was a player, I listen to another player before I listen to a coach. Like Aaron Boone's going to come in here. He is limited to what he can say because he's a manager. Brian Cashman is limited to what he can say because he's a GM. But when you're a player, you can say whatever the fuck you want to the other players.
Have you seen Moneyball? Why are they limited? Billy Bean threw a fucking trash can. Let's do that.
Different
Let's make that
times.
I hope that's what happened when Boone was in there. But again, I think
gonna
But you
mention that
can't.
when we were
You
talking
can't
about
see. But you. I can't see Aaron Boone or Brian Cashman doing that.
that's why I opened the episode saying, I'm Aaron Boone. And, you guys should really start playing better. Like, oh.
That's okay.
Damon,
That's what I'm saying about Didi though. Like it wasn't oh my god, we just had fucking Honus Wagner out there at shortstop. Like yeah, he was a solid player, but he brought a sense of
Honus Wagner.
leadership, a sense of
He was fun.
team. He brought a sense of like team camaraderie. People wanted to be there. He was always happy. He could go 0 for 4 with 4 Ks and he's still smiling in the dugout.
Yeah.
Now, if Stanton strikes out twice, he's sitting there in the corner on his phone, like fucking scrolling through Tinder matches. Like,
It's
and
like
everybody else is just pouting. And it's like, can you guys fucking show any kind of emotion at all? Any?
Yeah, I feel like everybody is kind of just at the same level of, they're all pointing for everyone else to kind of step up. And I feel like a big hole right now that would be filled would be Luke Voigt. I think when Luke Voigt comes back, obviously we can't wait for that.
Yeah, I don't think he's enough though at this point.
But I'm saying he's a
talked
type
about
of
that.
he's a type of guy that we need to come in. He makes everyone else better. He's a fun guy to watch. He brings everybody up, and he has that kind of team camaraderie in the locker room. He's also a really good fucking player.
Listen, he's not going to be back for a little while. We talked about and I think he will be the spark, but we need to get to mid-May.
Right,
is
I'm
when
saying
we're
people
expecting him
like
to be
that.
back. People like that. We need to figure something out now, and I don't know who or what or how we're going to do that. And we're not going to necessarily against the easiest stretch. We're starting against the Braves tomorrow, and Acuna may or may not be in the lineup, but that regardless of that, they're a better team than we are currently. And maybe just overall, I mean, if Acuna plays, honestly, I hope Acuna plays because that'll be the first exciting baseball game we'll watch. They'll be scoring the runs, but we'll be able to watch a generational talent. And one more thing about Acuna, and I brought this up on other episodes because just hypothesis, I didn't know if this was accurate or not, but I looked around the league. All of the stars are playing every day. Mike Trout played every day. Acuna played every day. He left halfway through the game last night, but barring injury, he played every day. Bryce Harper played every day. Mookie Betts, I think he was injured.
He was hurt like a day or so.
But even like injuries aside, though, we're the healthiest we've ever been. We've said that before, and our guys aren't playing every day, not because they physically can't go onto the field because their leg is broken or something. Like they are being held out of the lineup, and that is a GM, that is a upper management thing. That is what is the worst part about this team. And you know what? Maybe that is the stem of all evils that is going on here, because how on earth are you, like, the first time everybody's playing shitty. Everyone's playing shitty. And the way to get out of shitty, we said this before too, the way to get out of a fucking slump is to keep playing and keep swinging. You don't bench a guy when he's playing horribly. Sometimes you do, but not everybody at the same time. And like, there's no way to get people going again. That's just how you get out of things like this. You hit. What are we going to bench the whole team? Because there's like maybe 1 or 2 players that are above 200 on this team right now that are hitting in their batting average. It's just ridiculous.
You have to have a rhyme or reason to bench people. You can't just be like, oh, Clint, I pulled you out of a hat. You're fucking bench. See ya. Like, if you're going to bench Clint, you got to bench Hicks just as much, because he's been just as much the problem. If you're going to bench Hicks, you got to bench Stanton. Like, that's the whole thing. If you're going to bench people, there has to be a reason for it, or what the fuck kind of message are you sending to the team? And there is none, because it feels like every day there's a different lineup, and Boone's just drawing names out of a hat, like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and it's not because of injuries. It's because of being just shitty, and that's what he's doing. He's like, he needs to reset. Let him go watch. Let him go watch the team for a day. Like, that's not going to help. And the one person he should have benched was Jay Bruce, and he had to bench himself for his life. He just retired.
Yeah, he was like, stop playing me, please.
The one person he should have benched was Jay Bruce, and he decided to bench himself for the rest of his career. I don't know whether or not. I think, to be honest, I think we had a hand to play in that. I fully think. I know the rest of Yankee Twitter also bullied him like crazy, and for good reason. He sucked. Not saying anything about the guy, Jay Bruce. Probably a really, really good guy. He seemed very genuine when he retired, and I am happy for his whole career, and hope he just rides off into the sunset and has a great life on a lake with Murphy. But I do think we had a hand to play in that.
Yeah, I mean,
put it on my resume. I made a 36-year-old man retire.
I mean, Jay Bruce Jay Bruce, I'm saying this like not the exact quote, but he said that he wanted to retire because he felt like he wasn't playing to the standard that he thought he could be playing at, right? So it took him to realize that he was playing like absolute crap to go and retire because he felt like he wasn't doing enough for himself, he wasn't doing enough for the team. Guess what? His OPS.
Everybody else should retire too. If that's
his
the case.
OPS is 466 this year so far, and he has the most at bats. He had the most at bats at the Yankee team during that time. Aaron Hicks has an OPS of 476 this year.
Hicks should retire then.
So they basically have the same exact OPS this year, and one of them is retired, and one of them is our solid 3 batter and is never going to move and play in center field. How does that make sense?
Can we also just talk about for a second that we held him on, like we didn't call up Mike Ford, and we held a retired guy on the bench for that day, and he was apparently going to come off the bench, but he had no plans to use him, so we just had a retired guy on the bench.
Just filling up a spot.
That's just
nothing we do makes sense.
We're the
It's
Mets. That's a Mets thing. That's a Metsiest thing I've ever heard. That's what I could see in an alternate universe. We're making fun of the Mets for that, and I could see that.
That would make sense if it was Brett Gardner and he decided he wanted to do it, and you're like, okay, you know what? He decided like yesterday we're gonna do it as like here's an honorable thing. It's Brett Gardner. He's been a Yankee for fucking 250 years. Well, you know what? We'll keep him on for a day. Exactly. We'll keep him on there for a day in April, just as like a thank you. Jay Bruce has been a Yankee for 15 games.
You know, he had a good spring.
15 games, and you're gonna leave him on the roster for this? Like, he's not a Yankee legend. If any, we talked about the last episode. He is borderline the worst Yankee of all time. He is in the top 10 worst Yankees to ever exist. It makes no sense. It's not even a respect thing at that level. It's just, yeah, you know what I mean. But yeah. I mean, it's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Nothing we do makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, going back to us just kind of shitting the bed and, you know, having this lineup the way we are, you know, we've talked about it before, but this is the healthiest the team has been so far. So
let's play every day.
Let's
play
every day.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, we were talking about it a little before, but are we too healthy right now? Is that our issue? Are we too healthy? Do we? Because I feel like when we were next man up, we were 4 lines banging, we were winning games, we were scrapping. We had these guys coming up who wanted to play.
We need to fake an injury so that who's some random guy? Estevan Florial can come up. Nice. Why is he the first name that comes to mind?
I don't know. He felt like the next. Like
he's been the borderline guy every time.
And he's a higher prospect.
Yankee for 20 years, but okay.
He's one of the MLB ready guys too. So we need to get hurt. He needs to come up and light it up because the past 2 years we've won a bunch of games, but it's been the next man up. So I feel like everybody's just like, wait, why am I available in April? I'm usually not available till June. So maybe that. I mean,
I was not used to hitting in April.
Yeah. Genuinely, think about it. The next man up works because we have so many egos on this team and so many people that just want to hit home runs. When you have a mixture of people that can do that, and then a mixture of the next man up guys who are, hey, I'm not going to be up here forever. Like, I know I've got a 2-week stint. Maybe I can get a base hit here or there. It works.
They don't play selfish.
No, they play fundamental baseball because they want to do the best that they can while they're there.
Which is fun to watch.
Everybody that's healthy right now is like, oh, well, fuck it. I go for 4 strikeouts and I'll still be there tomorrow. I might as well try and hit a bomb. It's April.
Well, here's the thing, and Murph, you said this too, is that they're trying, I don't know if you said this, but congrats if you did. They're trying to get out of their slumps in one swing, and they're pressing way too hard, and you could see it specifically. I see it with Glaber. I mean, Stanton just accidentally hit a home run. He looked surprised also.
He was trying to foul it off.
And even so, that home run was nice, and I like runs, but I mean, do something that is what Stanton is known for doing, and that's what he gets made fun of for doing: home run or strikeout. And we haven't even mentioned too the historic historic strikeout numbers we've been putting up. We've struck out the most in history to this point as a Yankee franchise. I'm not going to read off the rest of them because we're breaking records out here, shattering barriers, and it's not in a good way. But the whole team, I feel like, is trying to just break out of the slump in one swing, and that's not the way to do it. That's the way to go even deeper into a slump. And specifically Glaber, like I was saying, Glaber looks fucking lost to the point where I want to sell his rookie cards. I have a lot of them. And I talked to Damon this morning. I was like, I might sell a lot of these cards because he's losing me actual money. So
I'm not financially ready for this.
I don't think I'll ever financially recover from this.
Yeah.
Our best offensive player right now is Kyle Higashioka statistically. I know he hasn't played that many games, but I mean that's telling enough.
But guess
Like-
what? Guess what kind of player that is? That's a next man up player right there.
Exactly.
Good point.
Yo,
I wish
it-
Clinton would buy into that as the next man up thing.
You,
Like,
you
now
think the
that he's
starting left
not the next
fielder?
man
Clint,
up thing.
he doesn't have the opportunity to. If he goes 0 for 4, then he's going to be fucking benched the next game.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Clint is
That's
like
exactly what I'm getting at.
Clint's like the
It's halfway
fucking.
between.
You guys need
Clint
to
is
start
pause
wake
the
up.
same
We're trying
time and
not to
talk at the
talk
same
over each
time.
other.
I'm
They're
gonna
like
mute you
waiting
too.
to let the
Yeah,
other
I
guy
know.
go, and then it's
I'm gonna
hard.
mute you
know.
guys.
No, what I was saying is that like he's kind of caught in between. Like he's not the next man up guy because they said he's starting, but he's also not the starter because he's not starting every day. So like I
He
don't
also
know.
doesn't swing the bat though, ever.
Clint is the
Not saying he should be
junior.
benched, but
Clint is the junior year of high school JV player that has all the experience, and he gets called up to varsity for a game. He's like, "Oh shit, I got to go 4 for 4. I'm getting sent back down to JV tomorrow." Like, that's how he feels. Like, 0-2 count. Here's a fastball down the middle. Maybe if I watch it, I can walk and not. He's playing to not fuck up, not to play well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
if
good
that
way to
makes
put it.
sense.
Which is what goes back to what you were saying before, Chandler, last week about everyone playing selfish. Like he's playing just to keep playing, right? He like I feel like he's just trying to do his job enough where he's in the starting lineup every day. And then you have other guys who are just trying to play for themselves. And I think that everyone has their own kind of motive that's not directly related to the entire team doing well.
Well, he borderline has to play selfish because
Right.
if
You can't blame
he's
him.
not pumping his stat sheet up, then he's actually going to get taken out. So we've talked about we've beat him to death, and he's not been playing well, but he also has the shortest leash in the MLB. I wanted to bring up one thing that I saw all over the DMs that we're asking for, and just all over Twitter too. Yes, the team's playing horribly bad, really bad. But a lot of people, that non-existent press conference that happened today, were expecting that to be like Boone getting fired or somebody getting fired or anybody getting fired. I don't know why everybody's calling for somebody to get fired. You'd think, like, yes, I'm not the biggest fan of Boone. I don't think a different coach or if any other coach, no coach can fix you from hitting 120. Like, you're just playing bad. We're playing bad as a team. It's not just a scapegoat moment where you just get rid of a coach in the first month of the season. Like, that won't change anything. Everybody's wanting him to be fired. And then expect the next day that we just show up and like everybody's Mike Trout because, thank God Boone's gone. Like, that's not going to change anything. Maybe at the end of the year, I don't know. That's a conversation for another time. But to the people hoping that he would have gotten fired there, that would have made us even worse because then we're going out the rest of the season. You want to talk about uninspired? Your coach just got fired a month in because you guys played so bad. How much confidence are you guys going to have going out against the Braves and multiple other teams going forward? Like, that would have taken the wind right out of the sails if there was any wind.
It's not Boone. It's a flaw in the build of the team, and it has been for year after year after year. The team's good enough to win, but they're not good enough to win the big game. And if you fire Boone, that's fine, whatever. Like, maybe you'll get another guy to hype the team up, but at the end of the day, the team, the way they're playing right now, they haven't convinced me otherwise. And like I've been saying for a couple episodes now, is that they have not convinced me that anything's changed structurally to win a big game. The way, like, if he was going to fire anybody, he needs to look in the mirror. And I'm not saying that, I'm not calling for Cashman's job. I'm just saying you can't pinpoint this on an individual coach. It's the way the lineup and this team is structured. When you have 1 through 9 who are either strikeout or home run outside of Higashioka when he plays, and maybe Gio and LeMahieu. So 3 people, and one of them's not even an everyday player, that are not home run or bust guys. That's an awesome recipe to sell tickets because everybody wants to be there for Judge's next 500-foot home run, but it's not a good way to win a World Series. And that's it. That's the bottom line. You can fire who you want. You can hire who you want. But if your 1 through 9 is playing for themselves and playing for the home run title and not to score runs on a day-to-day basis, then none of that makes a difference.
Yeah, and I think that going back to the Boone situation, there's no reason to even talk about going for his job or firing the guy. Like, there's only so many ways you can orchestrate this lineup, and I will give him the only credit I will ever give him, which is a slice of credit, is that he's trying different things. I don't agree with them. I think they're stupid decisions, but he is trying different things, and they're still not working. Like, if he was coming up with this crazy formula of, personal catcher here, lefty righty here, and it was working, great, sure, fine. But we've put out our best lineup, and we've put out some, different variations of that lineup, and nothing's working. So you can't really blame the guy for that. He's making decisions. There's no decisions, and I'm like, holy fucking shit, like, whatever, in the in-game decisions, right? It's really just like lineup construction. So there's no real reason to go after his job at this point, at least.
Well, that's a big deal to me too, but also I'm just saying it won't do a thing. Everybody who's calling for his job is just expecting, everything to go back to normal after Boone's gone. Like, he's the cancer that is making us be a bad team. Yeah, it counts for something, and yeah, he makes some decisions that don't really, don't make sense in the lineup. Also, I have a problem with, but it's not going to change anything because at the end of the day, 1 through 9 is all hitting bad. Every one of them. So no matter who you put 3 or no matter who you put 2 or 1 or 5 or 8, if you're all hitting sub 200, you're all below the Mendoza, it's not going to change a fucking thing in terms of who wins the game.
You know what he kind of reminds me of? Which I could be way off if I'm wrong. Just, tell me to go fuck myself. But he kind of reminds me of Joe Madden in his last few years in the Cubs. Like, yeah, you got brought in with the young core, and you're there to build them up, and then towards the end, they all kind of have these egos, and they're all kind of everything like that. And he's too nice of a guy, too much of a pushover to actually make something of it. Yeah, they're good enough to coast and get to where they want to go, but they don't have the assertiveness to take the next step.
Yeah.
No fire went under the ass.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I could be way off, but that's kind of what it reminds me of.
I don't know.
If we do win a World Series, can't wait to see how bad of a World Series hangover we have. Like, it seems like we have like a catastrophic World Series hangover, and we didn't even get to the World Series. Like, that's kind of what it feels like to me. It's like the pieces are there, they can do it, and they're just not.
But they're like just outside that window, like they did it, and it's like, yeah, nobody has the.
Yeah, like, well, any
cares.
team, like, the Dodgers aren't a good example because they're clearly not going through it this year. But like, the Cubs, for example, like, it was like, oh, it's the World Series hangover, and it's because it shows uninspired. Like, when you're on that run and you can see them playing inspired baseball to try to win win the first World Series in however long for the Cubs, I'm saying. And then all of a sudden, since they got there, then now what? That's kind of what it feels like for us. It's like, now what? But we still don't have the World Series.
Exactly. Where is our sense of arrogance? Where the fuck do we have this arrogance from? We haven't won dick since 2009. Nobody on this roster outside of Brett Gardner has tasted real success. Where's this sense of arrogance where you don't need to show up every day and look like you have a fire under your ass? I don't get where that came from, personally. And I feel like it's there. Like, I feel like this team feels like they're entitled to make a World Series just because everybody says they should. And every year they add a new piece that is supposedly the piece. But it's never, well, not Darren O'Day, but
Well, here's the
thing.
But
every year it's a new thing. And it's like, oh, we added Garrett Cole. Now they're the World Series favorites. And fucking, according to Vegas, we still are second place to be the World Series favorite, or to win the World Series. But
wild, by the way. Absolutely wild.
But where is this sense of entitlement coming from? You haven't won shit since 2000. You haven't won shit this decade. Where is this coming from? Play your ass off. If you win a World Series and you act like this to start the next year, okay. But you haven't won shit.
Well, I think the big thing here is that most of the people on this team right now have been on the Yankees, where we've made the playoffs pretty much every year, right? And when we do that, it's it's kind of like we're saying before in this podcast, we expect to be there every year, so the players just kind of assume that, and there's no fire under our ass. We're not the Blue Jays fighting for our life, playing every day like it's our last, and trying to make the playoffs for make a playoff run for the first time in years. It's a whole different scenario where the guys who are on here are just used to that, and we're okay with that. And then we're just kind of like, all right, we'll figure it out in the playoffs. We got Garrett Cole, and he's gonna help us in the playoffs. And all right, who else can help us in the playoffs? Who else can help us? Like, it's just like a constant, who's gonna help us when we get there, and not worrying about how we're getting there. And that's not the mentality that we should really be focusing on.
Could not agree more.
We suck.
Sorry, I was way away from my mic, but
This feels
So
like
bad
a.
at baseball. I'm not having fun.
No, this isn't fun. This is like a. Not an intervention, but it's got that same kind of feel.
It's therapy. We're having a therapy session.
Thank
now.
you. Yeah,
All right,
it's
so
like
who's
just laying it out.
who's the first person you think is gonna? Let's do a little positivity action here.
How are we gonna do that?
Who do you think is the person who's gonna turn it on first?
Mark Teixeira,
Cool.
somebody from
No,
a team that
I'm
won.
trying to think. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see DJ start.
I mean, DJ's still hitting
He
not
is.
286.
I know he's doing well, and especially compared to everybody else. But if he just catches fire, I feel like that helps out the whole lineup. I think
you
that
want to
just
know?
really helps us
Sorry,
out. If he's
I
on base
interrupted you.
every time. No, you're good. I was kind of rambling, but if he's on base a lot, I feel like that helps. I don't know.
He's one of the
No,
guys that has been like, we expected him to do so much more, and even seeing him underperforming is kind of like a whole shit. It's not just the guys who were expecting to just do home run or bust. It's DJ LeMahieu too.
Dude, DJ is not the problem.
But I'm saying,
I think
but what I'm trying
He's
to
not
say,
the problem, but if he goes back to normal, then everything else seems normal because
Yeah. I
he's
think the
normally Mr.
biggest-
Reliable.
The biggest cog that's not turning right now is Glaber. He's a mid-order bat. As a young guy, he's the guy that you want to be your franchise outside of Judge for 5, 6, 7, however many years, and he's hitting like dog shit, and he's pressing, like you were saying earlier, Rella. It's clear. Like it's not a timing issue. It's not a swing issue. It's I get down in an 0-2 count because I'm looking for a fastball down the middle because everybody else is hitting home runs and I'm not. It goes back to the selfish play. And he's sitting there on an 0-2 count looking to try and hit a home run. And he's swinging out of his fucking shoes and missing it by 3 feet. And you're like, that's not what got you to your superstar status. That's not why you were the top prospect in baseball. You weren't a power hitter to get there. Like, just because you had the one season and the juice ball season where you hit 38 doesn't mean you're Barry Bonds. Get back to the fucking basics, because when you're hitting, the whole team is hitting. That's kind of been a theme for 3 years now. Whenever Glaber's on, the whole team is around him, because he's a mid-order bat and he's the young, kind of exciting guy.
I think he's the guy. I think he's the guy we need.
To me, that's the turning point is him. Whenever he figures it out, and I'm not talking the start of the season where he's 1 for 4 with a bloop single. I'm talking the real Glaber, the 2019 playoffs Glaber. Whenever he comes around, that's when you'll see a change in the batting order.
Yeah, I don't want to see him get a hit and then it almost look like an accident or he looks surprised. That's what it kind of seems like, because, he hasn't getting any hits. And he actually looks he looks lost. And when he's swinging, he's late on everything. His back foot,
long.
I don't want to get into the deep dive into the swing mechanics and stuff like that, but his back foot is coming out and he's just not even using his lower half. That's we're not getting into Coach Luke here, but he's just not. He doesn't look like himself. He doesn't look like he's just he just looks lost. He looks like a different player, and he's such a young player too. Same with Clint, and he's not gonna get benched or anything like that the way that Clint did, at least. But he's a young player that it's so much harder for players like that to just go back to the fundamentals and just play good baseball and just go back to what you can do and just stay calm and stick to your guns. He tries to break out of it in one swing. And when I was saying that before, I was mainly talking about him. Stanton as well, who's just a fucking... I've been a big Stanton supporter, but he's starting to get very difficult to defend. And I know I saw Dan Rourke on Twitter, and he was saying how the contract is starting to become an issue. How do you guys currently feel about the Stanton contract? Because I'm starting to be very upset about it. It's been long enough.
I've never been a fan. Check the tapes. I've always been like a hesitant person to talk about Stanton
Hesitant.
because I've never been a huge supporter of Stanton, and then he like had a couple of games, and then I was like, he's okay. But I've never been a big fan of it, and I think starting this offseason, it's going to start to be causing a lot of issues unless he becomes the next MVP of the league.
Especially
somehow.
when Judge needs to be a DH too.
Yeah, and like he's just clogging up opportunities for the team. Aside from money, like there's money. That's a whole different thing, but also just his position.
I think the money's the biggest thing because without off the books, we have the opportunity to get other fucking people around him, and he's just clogging up.
I know, but he's also clogging up an entire position.
He's clogging up a lot of things.
The worst disservice we did to him and the team was designating him from year one as our DH. He won a Gold Glove or was a Gold Glove finalist, I think, in Miami. And he was healthier when he was playing in the field every day. And I stand by this to this day, that part of the reason that fucks with his health is that he's sitting on the bench for 9 innings and runs 4 times a game. Like, you got to keep muscle when you're built like a fucking Greek statue. You got to keep your muscles going or else they're going to tighten up. That's just science. Like, I'm not good at science. I'm a fucking retard. I'm just saying. Like, even I know that. Like, let him play. Let him run around a little bit. Like, putting him strictly as year 2 or year 1, just like, hey, you're a DH. That's it. That's how the expensive-ass DH. Like, that is the biggest disservice they've done to him and the team, and that was a detriment, in my opinion. I could be way wrong, but that's my thought process.
Just being at the stadium, you feel like there's no energy within the team, but the fans are just not having fun. I mean, we talked about it before. They threw the fucking shit on the field, which I don't even know. First of all, let's talk about that for a second. Where did they get the baseballs from? Because when I was, huh?
No one said anything.
Murph has muted himself. So when they're just the balls were coming from like the upper deck. I didn't understand where they got baseballs from because they were seriously up there. But that was the first time that I've been at Yankee Stadium and I've actually watched the game by myself. I've never. Well, I went with my friend. I didn't go alone, and I'm not calling you a loser if you do that. But I've never personally done that before. I might do it in the future. It was actually pretty relaxing. I came back and told Dan about that. It's kind of peaceful when you go there alone. But my buddy left because he had enough of the game. And again, it felt like a job watching this team, but I was sitting there alone, and there's just people were not having fun there. You're not having fun when you're watching the game regardless, but just the vibe in the stadium that I usually feel the energy, and I know it's reduced capacity, but it was not a good time. Not a good time to be a patron of the Yankees. I want my money back. I'm not buying any more tickets, by the way. Murphy was trying to plan a trip. Chandler, I don't know when you were planning that trip to New York, but I am...
I mean, I'm coming regardless. And
until further notice, I'm not buying any
when
more
you come,
tickets.
Chandler?
That's ridiculous.
I'll be
sorry.
there.
That's ridiculous.
I'll be there. I'll be there the whole first week of May, and it's the first series against the Astros in Yankee Stadium since the whole cheating shit. So I'll be there.
We're going to that.
I'll go.
Oh yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah, that's the stupidest thing
me?
I've ever heard. Yeah, what are you talking
you're
about?
unmuted.
You're not gonna go.
You're unmuted. Nice.
It switched my thing, dude. Fuck off. But that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Is that you're not gonna go to the games anymore because they're not playing well. Like, that's the most fair weather fan bullshit.
Oh my god!
Heard.
Don't even come at me. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves about Yankee fans. Is like, oh my god, like the amount of times that people throw out the word "you're not a real fan" because of X, Y, and Z. It's like, I don't want to spend my money in the next week. I'm not buying a ticket to a game because they are currently playing like garbage. Once they win one game, I'll buy another ticket. I didn't actually mean that, Murph. Like, I'm not gonna buy a ticket for the rest of the fucking season. Just Daddy's got to pay some bills, and it's not gonna be using my money for some fucking nonsense. I don't want to watch this live. I'll watch it. I'll watch the games. Just not gonna go to fucking 162 of this nonsense.
I agree, honest to God. Like, I know it's like a fair weather fan thing
Coming at my throat like that. I'm still gonna watch.
No, but it's true. Why? Like, you get the sense, and obviously it doesn't last, but for 2 days, you get the sense of like, why the fuck am I gonna give them my money if they don't want to? If they don't care to be there, why do I care to be there? I know what you mean. I got your back.
It's just not. I didn't feel the energy in the stadium, Murph. I mean, you haven't gone to a fucking game this year, so imagine him coming at my throat like that. That was nonsense, by the way.
You live 15 minutes from the stadium.
Okay. They don't want to.
don't
I've
know.
already given
It
them
was the way you said it.
$1,000
The
of
way
my
you
fucking
said it
money, and
struck
Glaber
wrong
Torres
with me.
is ruining my rookie card collection because he sucks. Play better, Glaber.
The way you said it did not sound.
You guys want to know a funny
Very-
stat?
Welcome back.
Sure.
We have 5 everyday starters hitting under 200 right now.
Are they all Mario Mendoza?
They are worse than Mario Mendoza.
Who are the 5? Is it
Not Judge, excuse me. Hicks, Stanton, Glaber, Odor, and Frazier.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So the power rankings came out,
Oh,
and we're 11, which is honestly, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I would say it's high, but
It's not high.
that's not how power
That's not
rankings
high.
are made.
It's, I mean, we were
MLB did a
3
good
last
job.
time. We were 3 last time.
It's a big drop.
It's a big drop, but it's a drop well deserved, and I think that's pretty accurate. I think we were, again, it's 15 games. All right. Have we shown signs of promise? Absolutely not. Do we suck? Absolutely. But we are still have a roster that has potential. So I think that's where that 11 comes from. We continue to lose. Obviously, we go down. But I think 11 is a good enough drop from 3. You can't drop us 25 fucking...
And if you could, we were the
ranks.
first team that was going to get dropped that much for sure.
you hit the nail on the head there with something, and
Me?
that's kind of what I. That no,
Really?
yes, you did.
I was just
Damon.
saying
That's
nonsense.
It's kind
No,
of
I know,
nonsense.
but you did. That's what I've been stressing for like a week now. Is
So did he say something good
we
or not?
deserve it now? The team is good, and I'm not like you see all the people on Twitter and shit like you guys are fucking morons. Like that's 15 games a season. It's
Who said
7
that?
games a season. People like in general are like, why are you guys overreacting? It's
Wait,
15
to us?
games.
No, he's not saying.
Yes.
Oh, it's kind of mean.
To us
just
or
to
just
anybody
in
that
general,
says it.
people
Yeah,
like
I'm kidding.
people are just in general like you guys are idiots. 15 games a season. It's not that. It's not.
Well, it's just
this.
been the same issues.
Well, it's the same issues for 4 years. It's the long term. That's what I've
Yeah.
been saying the whole time. Is that we're 11 right now, and eventually I'm confident that we'll snap out of it and be back in the top 5. But come October, where are we?
Yeah, I mean, there comes a certain, if this continues, I think for another week and a half, then I think the panic meter starts to go way up, because we keep talking about, hey, we're gonna turn it around and all this kind of stuff, but circling back the entire episode, in the beginning we were talking about the division and the Rays and the Blue Jays and even the Red Sox are all playing, very well right now, and those are teams that really want to play and really want to be here. They're exciting to watch. And we can't wait for us to get better, then also wait for them to get worse. Like we've been saying that we've had a slow start, and that's fine, but have they had a slow start? Has anyone else had a slow start like this in the league?
No, we
Other
have
teams
we have the second worst record in baseball.
other teams have been able to figure it out this early. So I think
What are
after
you getting at?
Are you listening? I'm saying
you're,
after
you're getting to a point, and I don't hear one.
I'm saying that after this week, it stops becoming a slow start and starts to start being that we're actually not good.
The Yankees are tearing our friendships apart.
Was that not clear? I mean, like,
We've kind of been saying that all episode.
I think we're getting into dangerous territory right now.
Just being mean to each other now.
Yeah,
This
we're
team's
coming at each
literally
other's throats.
ruining
Nothing
our
good.
friendships apart.
It's like how it's like nothing good happens after like 2 a.m.
2 a.m. Yeah,
12 or whatever. Nothing good happens after like 10.
5
40,
and 10
40 minutes of the
record.
podcast.
Or 5 and 10 record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there? Let me throw this out here. Is there a more useless headline than the one I got today after Cashman's press conference of breaking news? Hal Steinbrenner not
upset.
happy with the team.
He's
Not
upset.
happy with the team start. No fucking shit.
Breaking news. Me too. I don't give
Yeah,
a fuck how
yeah.
Hal feels.
Breaking news. Anybody that's ever watched the Yankees in the last 100 years that's still alive to watch them now, not happy. No. Whoa. Fuck. I never would have guessed.
Man,
I mean, we have.
You know what is kind of? I don't know if you guys are watching the Cardinals game.
Yep. Other
But
teams.
Perez is throwing it about 40 miles an hour right down the middle.
Perez.
That's dope.
Yep.
my fantasy.
It's
What's
kinda
his
fun to
free
watch.
agent status looking like? Can we get him in the starting rotation?
No. I mean, like he's actually throwing it 40 miles an hour. Like he is lobbing it.
Can we? No, I actually mean can we get him in the starting rotation? Because nobody on our team can go 4 innings and give up less than 5 anyway. So,
He didn't give up a run. I don't think so.
boom, there we go. There's our 2 starter behind Cole.
Could have been Mike King, but they decided to send him down.
No,
He was the issue.
dude.
Yeah, no, he was the issue. That's what
was.
they sent him down to figure it out because, he was really not fucking.
Do
doing
we even
anything.
have 26? Like, don't we have like 24 up right now? Because nobody came up still, right?
Well,
Since
yeah,
Bruce.
because Bruce retired. Yeah, so
Right.
they
still
haven't-
don't have anybody up.
Can we talk about that again? That was-
You know what? This
ridiculous.
just came to my mind. This just came to my mind. Hot take. You want to
Hot
know what
take.
will light a fire? You want to know what will light a fire under this team? Take an established guy, and I'm not saying a judge, but take like Hicks, something. Send him down for an assignment. Like
No,
you know
because
what?
they're gonna send down Frazier.
No, I know. I'm
If
just saying.
somebody's
Take
getting
like
sent down, it's him.
no. I'm just saying. Take like Hicks and put him in AAA for a week, and just be like, hey. Look at this. This guy signed a $7 million contract, $70 million contract, and can't fucking figure it out. He's gonna go AAA for a week. I know it's just
Nobody's
on paper.
safe.
Just see if they can hit the ball.
Exactly. It's like nobody's safe. Hey, maybe wake up a little bit, huh? You know, let's
Your
let's come
jobs
to the
aren't
ball.
guaranteed. No, but that goes back to
Exactly.
the benching thing. I don't want our starters. I mean, Hicks. I'll bench Hicks. Hicks has just been atrocious. And going forward, when the series starts tomorrow, I would like to see Talkman in center. We haven't mentioned that yet. I would like to see Talkman
wouldn't hate that.
just because he's been playing well when he's got the chances, and like maybe, just maybe, like we talked about it before, then we need the next man up. That was kind of a joke, but like a little new blood in places where we don't have solidified, bona fide, like, oh, why isn't he starting type of guy? Like, if Hicks wasn't in the lineup one day, I'm not upset. If Judge isn't in the lineup, I'm furious. If Sten, for as bad as he's been, he's also one of our best hitters, so he's got to be in the lineup too. He's also the DH. Those guys, when they're out of the lineup, I'm mad. If Hicks were to not get, that's where the benching comes into play. And for whatever reason, he's only been benched once. He should have been benched like 17 separate times, or just stayed down until Talkman plays bad. And maybe that's a situation where Talkman came up when he was pushing Clint down, and Talkman played well, like the best Mike T in baseball. Maybe you get lightning in a bottle, and all it takes is one guy to say, "Hey, guys, look, it can be done. We can energize this team." And maybe when one guy starts playing well, he passes the baton to another guy. And I guess we're getting, positive here at the end of the episode. If you made it to this point, we might need it. We all need some positivity at this point. But I'd be really, honestly, looking at the lineups tomorrow, I'd be mad if Talkman's not in center, to be honest.
You
I
said
think Talkman is
something
the-
there. Go ahead, Murph. I'll go next.
You guys are the worst.
I was just gonna say that I think
want you
Talkman.
to take it over.
You said go ahead, then you kept talking over him.
No, I was elaborating on. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Murph.
I was just gonna say I think Talkman's like kind of has been the epitome of the next man up guy. Like when we needed it last couple of years, he's been up there, and he's one of the few guys that I think is playing pretty inspired. Like he's been stealing bases, and the few chances he gets to pinch run, he hasn't looked flat. Obviously, he hasn't been in the lineup enough to like really tell, but I think that would be a good little jolt. Have
Yeah.
him start in center. I think that's a great idea.
And dude, it's like the comparison I would make. This team right now looks like, the NBA versus college basketball. The NBA has already been breaded up and paid, so they don't really give a fuck. They're uninspired until the playoffs start or something like that. If you even care about getting a ring because you already got a bag in your hand. The college basketball players are playing for their fucking careers, for the futures ahead of them, so they need to play inspired, like we've been talking about and preaching this entire episode. Talkman doesn't have a guaranteed contract for the next couple years where he's just set for life. Talkman needs to make a name for himself, and maybe those are the guys that we need because they're going to actually play inspired baseball. And guys like Talkman, maybe not so much guys like Roofnet Odor. He kind of sucks dick, and people, honestly, when I looked at the numbers, I was actually surprised. I mean, he has been playing awful, but his numbers were even worse than I thought because he got a few big hits, so it kind of like makes it feel like he's doing a little better than he is. But we need guys like that, dude. Higgy, we need those guys to step up and show the rest of the guys like, hey, it can be done. And then I think everything else kind of will fall into place. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but I think, listen, baseball is a game of streaks. We're on a 5-game losing streak. You win the day, you move on to the next day. One guy gets a hit, one guy gets a big home run. We need just like one walk off against. And honestly,
that'd be cool.
Maybe one other thing that I've been talking about before is I'm just excited to play some new blood. And it's still in the East, and we still played them last year, but we didn't play them that much. So maybe it's good to get out of the division for the first time. That's fun. And then eventually, when we start playing other teams like the Royals, like maybe that's the change of pace we need to have, just because we haven't played these teams in a year. So I don't know.
So kind of onto what you said originally before I so rudely interrupted Murphy, was that you were talking about the lineup changes, whatever, and it's kind of something I've noticed that, yeah, you want to mix up the lineup, but all of our lineup changes are just like flipping Judge and Stanton, who are the same hitter. So that frustrates me in general. Like, oh yeah, shit, we can't hit. We need a mix up. Let's put the same exact carbon copy guy in second, and we'll just flip him, and it'll be all be good. No, that just doesn't work. Just no. Like
It's more
no.
the same, yeah.
Exactly. And then number 2, which is a whole separate discussion on itself, and it kind of, when you talked about Odor, it reminded me of it, was what in the fuck happened to like little league level defense? That is a huge. That scares me. That's a huge issue, and that's why they look so uninspired, is because, like, routine, tailor-made double play, here we go, flip to second, Odor, I could hit the glove, or I could throw it 16 rows deep, boom. See in fucking section 208. Like, what in the hell are you doing? Like, these are routine.
Throw.
I know, that's what I'm saying. These
Bauer.
are we're shitting away routine plays. Like it's just like a mental thing for half of them defensively. It's like, what are you doing? Like nobody's there. Like you're booting ground balls, you're booting bloopers in center field, you're kicking balls around. Like it's just what in the fuck are you doing? That's why I'm not concerned for the short term, because obviously if you're a major league player, you can make those plays. But it's just like at the end of the day, like, can you fucking lock in?
Hit a cut?
And
it's things that aren't even
routine baseball.
It isn't even like the plays. Like I get Glaber, I don't get it, but Glaber, when you boot one and you make an error, that'll happen if you're not a great defender. It's the things like Clint just not hitting a cut and he just airmails one to the middle of the mound where the pitcher is. Like things like that. This is the sloppiest I've ever seen in my life. That's
the icing on the cake. It's like you were already playing like shit. We're already not running routine. We're not already making routine plays, and then we're just airmailing the ball. Like pull your shit pull together.
There are points where we joke and we say like I could play first and I could do all these things. Some of these things I could literally do, like hit a cut, and not only hit a cut, just not miss a cut every time. Like one of these times I would be able to figure it out. They're missing the cut and missing these random plays and booting things every time. And that's just a microcosm of the way that people are, just the mentality right now. And I think it starts with Mike Tauchman.
He's the savior.
He's the saving
Mike
grace for this team.
The savior.
Imagine if we told ourselves that on April 19th, Monday night, we were talking about the Yankees and we were like, Mike Tauchman is going to be the saving grace. Did we even give him a roll call episode?
No.
I don't think so.
He got lumped in when the left-handed bat episode.
And even in that, he was an afterthought.
Looking back to that episode, one of the lefty bat competition, actually,
there's Jay Bruce. And
all
Mike
four of them are not on the roster. Dietrich, Bruce, Ford is not on the roster yet. I'm assuming Ford will be back. Bruce retired. Talkman is on the roster, but he will. And Guardy he wasn't on that. We actually forgot.
He wasn't in that.
We forgot to do his roll call.
I think
we're left with Odor.
Actually, think about it. I think Talkman got his own episode, which at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter. It wasn't a long one. It was like one of the 12-minute ones just to satisfy a roll call spot. But either way,
let's win a game. Let's start small. Let's start small. Let's win one game.
You think we can?
Maybe win a series. How about that?
No.
It's a 2-game
Let's
series.
not push it. Let's just win a game. How about that?
It's a 2-gamer.
If we win one of these games, preferably the first one, I'll be happy. If JMO wins the first game, give him a little confidence, get him going into the next game. That all starts with one. And he's the guy who needs to pick it up. He's one of those guys that has something to prove, and he's one of those guys that can be, and he's a starting pitcher, but he could fall into that next man up mentality where he's got something to prove. So if he starts it up hot tomorrow, good things are coming.
Agreed. Fully agree.
That was forced.
No, actually, I
That's
kind
what
of
she
thought
said.
that was funny. I actually would give you that
Thank
one.
you. Said good things
I'll
are
give you
coming.
No, didn't you say good things are coming up
Yeah,
tomorrow? Like
yeah,
even
you did.
more?
Oh, did I say that? Okay, that was
Murph,
good.
what was
Things
that?
are coming up.
What was that?
No, that was a good one.
What was that?
I mean, I'm gonna give it a 9 just because I think they're like, I'm like the 10 has to be like that perfect
Yeah.
one.
No, I
Where we all
understand.
stop and completely acknowledge it. I know that's kind of what we did now, but so I'll give you a 9 though. That was good.
I didn't realize what I
understand.
said, but that was funny.
I wish you
was
said
cool.
something else that was a little bit dirty so I could do a double one on him. I was
See,
going to
that
say
would've
something
been-
else before we
double ones are
shut this down. Oh yeah. At what point does this, if this continues, do we start to talk about open tree outs? Like Murph, like you said,
like Invincible?
when you came at me and said that I'm 15 minutes from the stadium, maybe they could use a guy with that kind of. I can be up. I'm not
Rookie of the year.
I'm not commuting for an hour. I'm fresh. I'm ready to go. Haven't played in
Open
a couple of
tryouts.
years, so it's open
Little
tryouts. Vince Papale, maybe a little bit Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'll be the fucking. I don't know. I think everybody's spot is available.
You would need a trip on a baseball like Henry Rottenberger, and all of a sudden start gassing him at 103. When that
Roland
happens,
Gardner.
then maybe.
Dude, everybody's spot's available except Darren O'Day's at this point. That Silver
how
Fox
about-
is not going to be taken out.
How about a mid-season trade for once?
Hey,
Like
let's
that
say,
actually-
Well,
That- that
actually-
was being-
We're jumping the gun there.
that was being thrown around
We
on
just
Twitter all the
traded
time.
Fodor. What do you mean? That was a blockbuster.
Yeah,
no, I'm
dude.
serious. Like, no, I'm not saying trade like Stanton. I'm just saying, how about
I
a
wish.
trade that's actually worth something for once? Like, maybe that's what we need. Every year we get to the deadline and you see the rumors for like 6 hours. Oh, Yankees are gonna go get fucking Luis Castillo. How about pull the trigger on it?
At this
May-
point, we
maybe
might be
that's what-
sellers.
yeah, let's just
Maybe. No, I'm assuming the best, and that we figure it out how to play fundamental baseball and not look like fucking t-ball players anymore. And we get to the deadline and we look like a semi-competent baseball. How about we pull the trigger on a Luis Castillo or something like that? Then I'll feel good. That's what we need. That's
I
what
think
we
of
need.
all
Get
the
a
years,
little-
this is the year we need
I
it.
think those are the deadline deals, though. Those aren't going to happen anytime soon.
I literally just said that we should do that at the deadline.
He did say that.
Murph's playing Candy Crush, so he's not paying
See?
attention.
I told you to do that.
Tap baseball.
Lights are on.
That won't be the
nobody's
show. What are you playing?
home. Oh, I'm not even on my phone. I was
You
looking
were
at
on
it. I
your
was
phone.
watching-
You were playing some game.
You are. I word for word said, "How about a deadline deal?" You
Murph
said,
loves games.
I don't really
I
like
was just
that.
no.
idea.
You
How
just
about
said
a,
like
how
I
about
thought
a
you were
deadline?
just saying like a trade. Well, then why are we
No.
talking about it now? It's May.
These
Because I
three-
said how about a deadline trade? And you said I don't really know about that, but how about a deadline trade? I said, well,
You did say that. That did happen. That's our cue to end the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It was pretty much just a therapy session for us. So hope you guys got some kind of, peace out of talking through our problems like that. I've never actually been to therapy. I guess this is what it feels like, right?
Probably not.
It's probably a little more serious than this. We're talking about a baseball team that has no bearing on our lives. So
I'll do a case study and go to therapy and just talk about the Yankees for an hour.
See which made you feel better.
Yes, sir. Doctor,
This is the
whatever.
control group.
So what's your problem? Yeah, I've been watching Yankee baseball every day, and I want to jump off my balcony. That's
I think
the
they'd
problem.
understand. They'd be like, "Oh wow,
If they're a
really?"
Yankees fan, they would.
Tell me more. All right.
So if you made it this far, I don't know how you did, but thank you. Thank you for listening. These episodes are always, as of recent, actually, we figured out technology. So we've actually been great with the technology, boys. And everything craps out right now.
But yeah.
No, but every episode is now on YouTube, and we have been doing them live on Periscope, which is Twitter. If you're an audio-only person, it's pretty fun, the video side of things, but we get it, But if you're on the audio-only, give us a 5-star rating review. Yeah, appreciate you guys. See you guys next time. Hopefully the Yankees start.